Story time. 2.5 years ago, I met this woman on a dating app. She goes by Avery, but that's not her real name, so I'll just call her that. Avery lived in Seattle at the time, and I lived in Colorado. We hit it off very quickly, and a long-distance relationship formed. Everything seemed fine until one day she told me she wanted to drink with some of her friends in the Navy before they deploy. She ended up not texting me back for the entire night, during which time I was freaking out and wondering if she was cheating on me with one or all of these Navy guys. My friends all told me that was probably the case. But she told me she spent most of the night talking about me, and that she would never cheat on anyone because she had been cheated on a couple times before and wouldn't wish that pain on her worst enemy. She knew that I had been cheated on before, and she knew exactly how bad it would hurt me to go through that again. I trusted her, and we moved on. Eventually, I visited her in Seattle for a week, and she spent the whole time convincing me she was absolutely perfect for me. We played video games, watched funny shows, and spent the whole time enjoying each other's company. Not long after that trip, we planned for her to move to Colorado. She was going to stay with me for a month or two while she found her own place. But she love-bombed me as much as she could for those couple months until I didn't want her to leave. We agreed she could stay, and we lived together in that home for about a year. Eventually, we co-signed a 3-year lease together, and she found a new job at a calzone shop. Within just a couple months of her getting this new job, I started noticing changes in her behavior. All kinds of red flags started popping up. She was coming home from work late, hanging out with friends for hours after every shift, sometimes even staying the night there. Her sex drive declined dramatically, which she blamed on her new birth control. There's a ton of other things that would take forever to go over. Point is, every time I noticed something that raised concerns and tried to talk to her about it, she would gaslight me by saying I was paranoid, and she was sick of being accused. This went on for 5 months until I finally gave in and checked her phone. That's when I saw the messages. Dozens of messages back and forth between her and her boss, making sexual innuendos, talking about cuddling and wanting to sleep together. I confronted her immediately, and she refused to answer any of my questions. All she told me was that they hadn't had sex, and it had only been a work flirt that was going on for a few weeks. She ran out of the house at the first opportunity because she couldn't handle me yelling at her. I begged and pleaded for her to come back and explain herself. Almost a week later, she showed up at 3 a.m. with a couple friends to collect her things and leave without an explanation. Then, a few days later, she met me at a park and tried to explain to me this crap story about how she stayed the night at his house one time because we had been fighting, and she didn't want to come home. And while she was there, they cuddled together for the night with their clothes on. And in the morning she told him she didn't want to be with him because she was with me. She tried to convince me of this story for a full month and snake her way back into my life, but she wasn't showing any genuine effort or remorse. So I decided to reach out to one of her former co-workers, who confirmed my fears. She had been cheating on me with her boss for 5 months straight. She even had a key to his apartment. And even now that I've caught her, she still refuses to tell the truth. I was paying the entirety of the rent for those 5 months because I had promised to let her quit her job after I graduate, and I would support her while she goes to college this fall. So she was supposed to be saving money, but now I've come to find out she wasn't saving. Probably because she was spending it on an affair. So anyways, long story short, I gave 2.5 years of my life to a pathological liar/sociopath who was willing to throw away a real promise of a future to be with the GM at a calzone shop. She violated me and completely destroyed my sense of self-worth. And she doesn't even seem to care. I just hope it was worth it to her. She frequents Reddit and r// videos, so I'm really hoping this goes viral and she sees it. Update September 23rd, 23. I've now found out that she was never faithful to me for even a second the entire time we were together. Not only did I learn that she has an ex-boyfriend she never told me about that happens to be in the Navy. Remember that whole thing from the beginning. And on top of that, she was in contact with a different ex-boyfriend for the entire first year of our relationship, and even had a shared bank account with him. This woman is seriously twisted and an absolute abomination.